on everyone, good morning. It is Adam from Green Auto Services and welcome to a new video. Today we actually have a 2017 3 Series BMW. Now this is the 3 litre X-Drive diesel engine and today we are doing a service. Now fortunately it's already had an MOT and it's already passed with flying colours, so we're now going to crack on and do the standard service, depending on what the vehicle's due of course, but I'll show you how to check with these BMWs, particularly through the iDrives, effectively the vehicle telling you what it's due. If you like this video, enjoy it, perhaps learn a little something, by all means don't forget to drop us a like, comment and more importantly hit that subscribe button. So on that note, thanks very much indeed, let's get straight into it. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, just to quickly show you where you can check all your service information with these vehicles that have the X-Drive. Now, when you get into the vehicle, you want to put the ignition on or start the engine, depending on what you like to do, your preference. So I'm going to turn you around, take you to the iDrive, show you exactly where you need to look to see exactly what service items are due at what kind of mileage or date. So let me turn you around and show you exactly what's going on. So in the center console with your iDrive, you want to select the menu button. So this is going to bring you to the screen up top. You want to make your way to My Vehicle, click on that. You want to go down to Vehicle Status. Now this has already gone to the tyre pressure monitoring system, but you just want to back up to the list here and you want to go down to service requirements. So this will actually bring you a list of what the vehicle is due for. So here we have your engine oil, which is due in 1600 miles or in November of this year. You've got your brake fluid, which is also due November. Front brake pads, a rough mileage, vehicle check, which is just your vehicle inspection on a service. Sometimes it will mean your MOT due date. It will just give you a month and the year, and then rear brake pads as well. Now the only thing in this list that you won't find is the fuel filter and the air filter and the cabin filter for that much. So actually these are the most important ones that BMW feel that you should keep an eye on. If you actually go all the way to the top to service history, whenever a service is performed, you've actually got a record of previous services that other workshops, mainly main dealer, in this case BMW, have carried out. So if you click on them individually, we can see here it had an oil change, it also had a cabin filter, that was back in the 7th of December 2018, and then up the top there's only 2 in 2019, it also had a brake fluid change and a vehicle inspection. But that is literally the only history we've got. We've got other paperwork which does not list quite a lot of the service items. So today I believe we're actually doing a full service, changing all the filters, so it's going to be very informative. So that is how you check all your service requirements. In the list, what is also very good is, as earlier before, as you saw, you do have the system for the tyre pressure monitor. So if you ever adjust your tyre pressures, you just want to go into that, you want to perform the reset, then you have to drive the vehicle as well. After about maybe 5 minutes, you'll actually get your individual tyre pressures pop up, and then you can keep an eye on your pressures. So let's get back under the bonnet and I'll show you where the oil filter is to remove that before we drain the oil. Okay, so here we are underneath the bonnet in the engine bay. So your oil filter is actually located to the right hand side of the engine here. So you want to go ahead and just take the engine cover off. I've already popped it off, it's just a couple of, 4 rubber grommets that hold it all in place. And then down to the right hand side here, this is your oil filter cap. So to remove this, you are going to need a 27mm socket, just like this one, and you just want to pop that on there and then just undo it to take the oil filter out. So let's do that now. Okay, there we are. So that is your oil filter out. So we're also going to take the filter out of the housing and pay particular attention to this little locating tab. I'll show you with the new one before we put it in. So that's out. So we can just leave that loose, take the oil cap off, get the car up in the air and get the oil drain. Okay, so here we are underneath the vehicle. As you can see, I've already got it in the air. I've actually already done all my checks as well. So for the purpose of the video, I have actually removed 1 and 2 of the under trays, which basically covers the transmission, the front part of the engine. Actually, I've left this metal tray in situ purely because to drain the oil, BMW have actually very kindly left a hole in the bottom grate. So it's just a 17mm bolt up there. Take that out and that will drain in all of your engine oil. So let's get that done now, and then we can move on to other maintenance items, just like the fuel filter, which is actually located just here, but we'll come back to that in just 2 minutes. So let's get the oil drainer under and get all the oil drained out. Okay, so whilst the oil is finishing draining out the bottom of the engine, you want to do yourself a favour. With these BMWs, the oil filters are actually really good, and not only coming with a new seal, but they also come with a new sump plug washer. So make sure you take that out and check. This is the 17mm sump plug bolt that comes out, and as you can see, we are going to take the old washer off and then take that washer out of the bag and put it on there, so that will be renewed. This is the man filter that we'll be using. Part number is Hotel Uniform 6004X, and that is the one that has come out. And as we briefly discussed earlier, please make a note of this tab with seal. That is specifically designed to locate in a hole in the oil filter housing, and it will go down that way with the cap that goes on the top there. So I've already gone ahead and cleaned off the cap, so that is now clean. We're going to put the new seal on and then get the filter in there ready for when we get the car back down. But this was just a quick little video to show you what is in the kit for these BMWs, what it looks like, and how it will all go together. So let's just quickly do that now. Okay, there we go. It's as easy as that. So before we fit this in, we are obviously going to lube up that seal with some fresh engine oil, and also that seal with some fresh engine oil as well, to stop it catching and tearing it apart whilst it's being screwed into the housing. And as you just saw, that is a sump plug with the new washer on there. So once the oil is completely drained, we're now going to get this back in and tighten to 25 Newton meters. Okay, so here we are back under. As you can see, the engine oil has stopped draining. That's more than sufficient enough to get that sump plug back in there. So let's do that now. Okay, so we have got the oil sump plug back in, and that is torqued to 25 Newton meters. Whilst we're under here, I do know we are replacing the fuel filter, and this is it here. So this is a canister fuel filter. This is located on the near side front of the vehicle. This is the transmission, so right next to it. Unless you are replacing this, you don't have to take off the under tray, but again, I've done it purely for the purpose of the video, and we are actually replacing this out. These are quite straightforward to replace. Okay, so with this particular one, you don't actually need to disconnect this multi-plug here. This metal canister does actually disconnect from this plastic housing here. There is a C-clip where you can just see the ends of it protruding there. So that's the other side of the clip there. You have to pull it out this way, so towards the outside of the vehicle. I have seen them spun around the other way, and you just have to pull it out to the opposite side to the feet. That will then allow this plug to come out, but be warned, there is a very thin circular washer in there. So the new one will come with one, but just make sure you're aware that the new one has to go in and where exactly it's located. Coming to the front of the canister, there is a fuel line which this green tab has to pop outwards to allow you to then remove it off the front. And then the whole canister is held in place with a plastic bracket, which is held in place with a 13mm bolt. So with all that information I've just given you, I'm going to put you back on the mount, and we're actually going to get this canister off. Do stand back, be careful, it will leak quite a fair bit of fuel. It will stop eventually, but make sure you don't get yourself covered. So let's get this done now. Okay, so this is just a very quick look at the pipework once the canister has been removed. So this is the back end of the unit, which you can remove. You just kind of have to wiggle it out because you do have a rubber seal in there, which helps to hold it in place and obviously seal fuel coming out. Just bear with it, it will eventually wiggle loose. There'll be a bit of fuel that comes out. And this is the front pipe. Oh, there we go. And there's the front pipe that you have to remove. So this green clip at the bottom, you need to pull that down, and then actually on top of, oh, there's a bit of fuel there, careful, and then on top of the actual line itself, there is a green button that you have to press down whilst you're actually pulling the pipeline off. Now it's pretty stiff, to be fair. Maybe a small flathead screwdriver just to help pry it off, just to get it moving. Don't be too rough with it. It is only plastic at the end of the day, and if you break that line, you're going to have to get a new genuine one, undoubtedly from BMW. So take your time, just make sure it comes off smoothly. Once it does come off, you can then remove the canister and get it drained to swap it out for the new one. Okay, so here it is. This is the old canister which is out of the vehicle. So what we do have to do is have to take this plastic bracket off and position it on the new canister in exactly the same position because it is orientated specifically. Looking at the back, this is where the plastic housing went into the back of it, and you'll probably see it in there. This is the really important piece right here. This here is the rubber seal that goes in the back of there between the canister and the electronic sensor. So there is a new one in the kit, so make sure that you swap that out and make sure it goes back in there before you put it together, otherwise you will have a fuel leak. And this is a small piece of foam. That's all it literally is. It's just stuck to the canister. If the new one doesn't come with a new one, we are going to try and peel that off and transfer it across. I don't know if you saw when it was up in the vehicle, I'm pretty sure that was cushioning it against the chassis or something else, but we'll have a look at that when it goes back into place. But we are going to transfer that over, so I'm sure it's there for a reason, otherwise BMW wouldn't have put that there in the first place. So as you see, this is an original genuine BMW one. It hasn't been replaced, I don't think, since the life of the car, so this is why we're doing it. So let's get the old one, get the new one out of the kit and show you how it comes. Okay, and here is the new canister. So the part number for this particular one is Whiskey Kilo 5005/1Z, and this is a man filter. So just marry them up, make sure they're the same size, which they are. They've got the same fittings. Also, make a note, there is actually a small cutout groove in the back of this. This is to help to locate the electronic sensor correctly in the right orientation into the back of this as well, so pay close attention to that. You'll also notice that on the original one you have an arrow pointing that way, and on the new one you actually have two arrows pointing this way as well. This is basically telling you the flow of fuel, so it's going to go in the back here from the fuel tank and then through the filter and out from the front to the engine. So that's got to be orientated in the correct direction. So what we're going to do now, we're going to transfer over the plastic bracket and the small piece of foam if we can, and this is the new seal, which actually came just resting on the top of this in the kit as well. So that is going to be a new seal that we pop in the end there as well. There is no new seal to the O-ring which is on the electronic connector, so as long as that's not damaged, that can be reused. So let's get this transferred over now and then get fitted back into the vehicle. Okay, so very quickly as well, this clamp, although I've already taken it off, it actually, that's how it sits, and it kind of locates over a dowel over that point where the bolt goes. So to take it off, you just want to take the bolt out, pop it off, bend it over, comes over in two pieces, that pushes out as well, and there is actually a rubber seal to go in there, just make sure it fits nice and securely, and actually acts as a little bit of a vibration damper as well. So what I normally like to do is line it up with the old canister. You can see where the old seal was, line it up in the same position before putting it back together. And then it's literally just install in reverse order. Trying to do this one-handed again. It just slots over the end, flips over the top, and then with a bit of a push just locates like that for the bolt to go in. And there we are, just like that. That is the new plastic bracket on there. So we're going to get the new seal in the back there, and we're going to get this fitted to the vehicle right now. And one more quick thing as well. That's how the canister is going to be orientated. So this is the bolt that will screw straight up into the chassis, just there, you can probably see. But there is actually a hole just in front of it for this small plastic dowel to help locate it. So actually, it's a pretty good design for easy fitting effectively. So for the time being, I've only done that finger tight. I have left it quite loose actually, because I may need to just slightly rotate or move the canister so everything sits in a natural position. So this is the new O-ring or seal to go in the back. And I'm going to quickly show you as well, without getting wet. Just on the side there is a small little locating tab, which is what we discussed about earlier, which is located just at the end of my finger there. So we'll obviously need to rotate the canister accordingly to line up with this sensor, because this sensor naturally sits like that. You can't twist that round or force it into a position. So we need to just rotate the canister to line it up with that dowel. Okay, there we go. So everything is now all in place. Now that I've got everything lined up and connected, I've done up the 13mm bracket to hold it all in place. And then this clip, I've just pushed on. You'll feel a bit of resistance and then it'll pop over, and then just push the green tab back up to lock it in place. Now, more importantly though, this is the sensor, which is now into the back of the canister. Basically, this is the big U-shaped clip that holds this all in place. You want to push this in so it is exactly where it is at the moment, because there is actually a shoulder, which in hindsight I should have showed you before I put it together, that this has to go through to sit behind to stop this coming out backwards. So this effectively locks it in place. So as it was done earlier, just want to pop that in the grooves there, and then just gently push it across until that locks in place. There we go. And then that is the orientation of where it sits. And then just check on this side that you can see that both the feet are pointing outwards, and that is everything locked in place. So as far as the fuel filter is concerned, that is all now fitted and installed correctly, and then we'll cycle the ignition a few times just to let the low pressure pump prime the system with fuel until the high pressure pump takes over to run the vehicle. And there we go. So it's time to get all the under trays back on, get the vehicle back down and fill it up with oil. Okay, so here we are with the new oil filter ready to go in. I've gone ahead and just got some fresh engine oil and just lubricated the main seal and also the small seal on the locating tab up here. So at this point, be very, very careful. Make sure undoubtedly that tab at the end locates in the hole in the oil filter housing. Now it's pretty difficult to see, but if you get a torch down there, it's approximately at about 2 o'clock. Okay, so just towards the top right of the actual oil filter itself. It'll look a bit backwards on camera, but it is about up here. It's quite easy to see, so make sure it goes down there and locates before you rotate it in. If you feel any kind of unnatural resistance when putting this in, then by all means back it off, take it back out. You can even put the filter in first and lock it in place before you put the cap on, which is probably a better way of doing it. I've done quite a few of these. I'm just going to pop this in myself just as it is. Okay, there we are. And I've just torqued that up. That is actually 25 to 30 newton meters. Even says it on the top of the cap there as well. So I've just done that to 25 and everything is absolutely fine. So now that that is all done, we just need now to fill the engine with oil and get everything run up. Okay, so here we are. The vehicle is now back down on the floor. We've put the oil filter in and we've also drained the engine oil. So the particular oil that I'm using today, which is recommended for BMWs, this is from Comma. This is Sinner Z5W30, as it says on the tin, for modern BMW vehicles, including diesels. So this engine takes 6.5 litres. So we'll be getting all that in there now, running it up to temperature, and then do an oil level check. Scrap that, probably won't be running it up to temperature, but we will just be circulating the oil around the engine, just so we can do a oil level check on the dipstick, which is at the back. Don't forget to put that down. And then once the oil level's on maximum, we can crack on to the next bit. Okay, so here we are back in the car. So the engine is now filled with oil, the dipstick's down, the oil cap is on, the oil filter's in. All we need to do now is, before we run it, we have got a new fuel canister on there. It's going to be full of air, so we're introducing air into the fuel system, which is no good. So just to prime the system, what we're going to do is cycle the ignition. That will kick in the low pressure fuel pump in the tank to push fuel through up to the engine. What you want to do is you want to cycle the ignition a couple of times just to really help it prime itself. Then once we've done that maybe 3 or 4 times, we can then start up the engine and hopefully it will fire and continue running. Now it probably will fire. If it does die out, don't panic, just keep cycling the ignition. I'm quite sure actually these BMWs are very good at priming the low pressure side before the high pressure pump takes over to keep the engine running. So that's 4, I think. That's 5. So let's get it started and get everything running. Okay. So you can probably tell there it took a few seconds just for the engine to fire, but that is to be expected. That's just pushing any unnecessary air through the system, through the common rail, and recycling it back to the fuel tank. So that will be all the air now out of the system. Leave it running for 30 seconds to a minute. Make sure that your oil pressure light goes off to ensure that oil is circulating, we've got pressure. Then after about 30 seconds to a minute, you can shut everything down and then we'll go and check our oil level. The vehicle's now been run, the oil has had a chance to run around the entire engine. Let's now pull the dipstick and see where our level is. Okay, so at the moment it is, I don't know if you can see that, it's probably won't focus without some help there. Okay, it's actually just on the minimum mark, so we probably need to put in another litre, I'd say, to get that up to maximum. Okay, and there we are. I don't know if you can quite see it, but that has just been dipped, and we are now up here at the top groove, which is bang on maximum. So the oil is now all done. I'm going to put the cap back on, the dipstick in, and we are going to move on to the air filter. Okay, so we're now moving on to do the air filter. Now on these engines, I've had to take the cover back off just to show you. The air filter is located in this air filter housing just here. You want to take this wiring loom and just pop it out of that clip. You've got one metal clip at the front to pull forward and another one at the back that I can't even get my hand on. There we go. And then the housing will tilt back just enough to be able to then pull out the center section. And if we flip that over, as you can see, that is well overdue to be replaced. So let's get this all out, cleaned up, and get the new one back in. Okay, so here is the new air filter. Part number is Charlie 37009, and if you take it out the box, it actually comes pre-assembled with the plastic housing that it sits in. So all of this is one whole piece, just gets chucked away. Now off camera, I've already cleaned out the air filter box, and to be fair, there wasn't actually much debris in there, but I have cleaned out what I can. So now this new one is going to go back in the same way as it was taken out. There we are, and as simple as that, one air filter and installed. Okay then everyone, so this is the last step. So this is now replacing the cabin filter. The part number for the cabin filter is a man filter, Charlie Uniform 25001. Now the cabin filter is located in the passenger front footwell. The first thing you need to do is take out two 10mm bolts which hold this plastic under tray in. There will be a cigarette lighter maybe connected and the actual footwell light connected. Just disconnect those and put it to one side. And just under here, and this section here, this curved section, is actually the cover for the cabin filter. Now it's held in place with 3 T15s or T20s, I think they are. So we're going to remove those 3, drop this down, and then take the cabin filter out. Okay, and just here there is actually a tab that you want to pull towards you or away from the cabin filter housing, and then this whole cover will pull down. Now it is connected with a what I think is a drain line just there. You can get away with just putting that to one side, and then as you can see the cabin filter just naturally falls out, and as you can see this is filthy. So let's grab that. Just be careful, there's a few wires in the way. And there we are, and that's out. But as you can see, it's naturally designed to sit in on a curve. So compare it to the new one. If you look on, yeah, here we go. So if you look on the side, there is another arrow for direction of flow. So the air is going to flow through this way, filter, and come out clean air this way towards the cabin filter. So that is the way it's going to go in. Okay, so this is me working around the camera without trying to knock anything to show you exactly how it goes in. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just put it in the same way the old one came out. Okay, just like that. And then get your cover, pop it back on. He says, as easy as that. That tab locates, and then get your T20 screws. 1, 2, and 3. Let's get back up in there. And 3. There we go. And then all that's left to do, put the plastic under tray in. Don't forget to connect to the footwell light and the cigarette lighter or the auxiliary lighter socket. And that is your cabin filter all done. Alright then, so that is everything all replaced and all done. Now, just to forewarn you, you will require diagnostic tools to be able to reset the service lights on these particular vehicles. Now, you can actually, if I show you the instrument cluster, press and hold the start-stop button or the ignition to put it on. go to the left of the stalk and you want to press this button here to scroll through the menu, and you want to go to, I believe it is miles per gallon. Then down here, press and hold the trip button, wait a few seconds, and then it'll actually bring up your service schedules. So using the button in the corner here, that's your brake fluid, front brake pad reset, engine oil, vehicle check, rear brakes, and then back to brake fluid again. Now, on some of the vehicles, it will say reset possible, and not in this case, saying reset not possible. If you press and hold this left button again, it will go to carry out reset or something like that, and then press and hold it again, and it may reset it. They do vary between vehicles. Now, I have already reset everything off screen. For data protection purposes, I couldn't show you, but I have actually programmed and written the history into the iDrive. So selecting my vehicle again, going to vehicle status, service history, we are now down at the bottom here where we have now written the latest service record. And if we go into it, there is everything that we've done. So we've done an engine oil change, air filter, fuel filter, microfilter, vehicle check, brake fluid, and the MOT, which is the statutory vehicle inspection. So that is all done, logged and registered. We will now come out of that, and then individually all of these will all be reset to miles and their appropriate dates. That is effectively how you change all your service items on a BMW 330. Okay, and there we have it, guys. We are all done for the day. So there we go. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, learned something. If that is the case, you know the drill by now. Like, drop us a comment if need be. More importantly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. There are so many videos going down the line, and everything is all going in the right direction for the channel. So thank you ever so much indeed once again for all of your support. I will be actually be back in later with my own Fiesta, doing another video on rear axle bushes, so make sure you stay tuned if you like the Fiestas. But yeah, there we go. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see all of you guys in the next video.